Hey, Daniel from these 7Cs. Man, today I'm just gonna have a sit down conversation. I don't know if it's a conversation, it's just me talking, but I'm not gonna be doing a review specifically. I just want to kind of just shoot the breeze, and kind of give you guys a sense of where I'm at in terms of like my knife hobby. The past few months I've sold a lot of knives off. I think up to this point recently, I've haven't really, when it comes to like my purchasing decisions, right? You know, um, Usually, it's influenced by like what's the latest thing out there, so what tends to happen is, as you guys know, right now we're like in the golden age of like this knife industry where there's like a new knife, new model, new knife company, new knife brand coming out like all the time, so if we are influenced by like trying to get the latest and greatest, man, there was like no end to it. And I realized this over the years that, I'm never gonna be really truly satisfied with the knife. There's always gonna be like that next chase, that next thing that I want. And in what I realized is that that's not very healthy or conducive, like financially, mentally, you don't ever, we don't ever want to be like, just like willy-nilly putting down cash, for our hobbies without really taking into consideration like self-control. And so with that being said, I've really whittled down my knife collection a lot. If you, I think, look back to I think I made a video back in December of 2022, like the state of my collection. Since that point on, it's about 6-7 months now, that has changed drastically. So I'm just gonna kind of go over the knives that have stuck around, and the knives that are incoming, but it has really whittled down. I'm really slimming down, trimming the fat, and really just keeping knives that I really enjoy. No, I'm no longer like just buying something because it's like the coolest thing out there. But I'm really want to slim down my collection to have the knives that I really enjoy using, carrying. And if I'm not doing any of those two things, then it's not going to stick around, And so there are certain knives out there, that I loved having them, like the Koenig Arius is an example. The what was it? The Holt Haptic is another one. The Grimsmo Rask is another one. The common kind of trend is that those are all like, six, seven, $800, $900 knives. And, it was great having them, and I actually even I carried them actually, except for the Holt Haptic. It didn't stick around that long, I realized I always kind of came back to the same kind of like 2-3 knives that I carry around. It's usually my Chris Reeve, my Spyderco, my Striders. And so I realized, okay, you know what? There's certain kind of certain qualities I look for. It's not necessarily because they're the latest and greatest, but it's just because they're that, tried and true, and they kind of fit like my user profile. And so anyways, I'll just go ahead and kind of share with you. I'll start kind of with my latest kind of snag. So I do have two Strider SNGs coming in. One is the Monkey Edge Frag Pattern Aluminum SNG in that 3 V steel, and then the other one is like a standard fare Strider SNG with that G10 and the Tiger Stripe. I believe it's CTS XHP. So those are like my latest kind of acquisitions. I sold off a ton of knives to really get to where I'm at. The latest one that actually I have in hand, and I did do like an unboxing of first impressions, is this guy. This is the Hinderer XM18 3.5 inch non-flipper in the S45 VN. This thing, I've actually, when I first unboxed it, I was like, man, I love this knife. Now that I've actually carried and used it, oh my goodness, like this thing is amazing. I absolutely love this guy. I've had a lot of different Hinderers in my collections come and go. I had some XM18s, I had Eclipses, I had what else? And actually, those I think those are only really two kind of major models that I've had. But this thing is gonna stick around. I absolutely love it. The action is superb. It's like drop shot. The D10 is just perfectly dialed in for that non-flipping action. It feels amazing in the hand. I love how the lines just flow. It just looks, honestly, to me, it looks better than having a flipper sticking out right there. Oh my gosh, dude, this is an amazing knife. I'm gonna do a long, like a full-on review in a few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. The next one that I have, man, I sold off so many knives. I used to have like 20 knives. Now I'm down to, sorry, my knife case is right behind me. So I right now have like 8 knives. So I literally whittled my collection down to over half. Okay. The next one I have is this tried and true tested. This is the Chris Reeve Umnumzan. This is actually the S35VN. I got this right before it switched over to the S45, and now they have it in the Magna Cut. But just a classic Umnumzan drop point. God, this knife is amazing. I love this knife, but it's crazy because when I first got it, I didn't like it. I had to warm up to it just because ergonomically it felt a little bit weird with that little hump thing coming out. It felt a little bit weird in hand, but now that I've really warmed up to it, it definitely has, I think, the most personality out of all the Chris Reeve lineup. And I feel like this is like one of the easiest knife to take apart. It literally is held together by 2 screws, and that's it. Just a really simple knife. It looks so good. That beautiful drop point harpoon shape going on. I love that kind of that crosshatch milling pattern that's going on. Just a beautiful example of a Chris Reeve knife. All right. I do see more of these actually available in the Magna Cut. I know they're still a bit harder to get than like the normal kind of the Sabenzas. But if you can snag one, I highly recommend it. It's not for everyone, but give yourself a little bit of time to warm up to it. And if you don't, after that, if you don't like it, go ahead and get rid of it. And you could essentially sell it for what you got out of it, honestly. Like, these things are so popular. But this has stuck around for a while now. Love this knife. Next one is actually, this is like probably my fanciest Chris Reeve. This is a Savenza 31 in that beautiful box elder and their glass blasted finish. This is in their S45 VN. All right. I really like S45 VN. In the Hinderer, the non-flipper, I have it in the S45 VN, and it's performed really well. Holds the edge really well. But yeah, this is a beauty. I don't carry this guy as much. But it still has become a mainstay in my collection just because of how gorgeous that box elder is. Just beautiful, man. This thing, oh, it's a beauty. All right. Next one. Actually, this is my latest Chris Reeve knife. This is the Sabenza 31 large in that Magna Cut in single blade and that gold hardware. I got this straight from Chris Reeve Knives. Took about 1.5 years of waiting to finally get this guy, and now I heard it's even longer. I think it's like 5 years or something like crazy like that. But their Magna Cut has been so phenomenal. It comes just like toothy sharp. This is the sharpest Chris Reeve knife I've ever handled. I probably had over 20 different Chris Reeve knives over my journey. This Magna Cut, the way they heat treated, sharpened it, hands down the sharpest out of the box CRK knife I've ever handled. This thing is a beast. All right. I love the Sebenza platform. I love the in single blade shape. Oh my god, this thing is awesome. Awesome. I think if I had to choose one knife for the rest of my life, it may be this one actually. All right, so this is a large Sebenza 31 in single in the Magna Cut. Now let's go ahead and move on to, oh god, this thing is a beauty. This is a large Sebenza 21 in that Damascus, raindrop Damascus. This is a user, guys. I've carried and used this guy so much, and I know there's some questions about, oh, like, is a Damascus blade, is that like user friendly? Does it perform well? The way Chris Reeve heat treated and really just brought this Damascus blade to life is, oh my god, it was really definitely meant to be used. It looks pretty, but it performs just as good as it looks. It sharpens really easily, holds an edge well, and just, oh my god. So if you're looking for a user that looks really unique, looks beautiful, I'd say opt for the Damascus. Oh my god, this thing, this is a 21. I've had this probably, I think this has been this has stuck around the longest. I think I've had this knife for about 5 years or so, and it's broken in so nice. It is, I mean, when you break in a Chris Reeve knife, it is crazy smooth. Anyways, love this guy, and this is a special one because it actually has a very special birthday, so not going anywhere forever. The next one, let's stay with the Chris Reeve kind of lineup. This is a small Sebenza 21 in single. This has been around for probably the second longest. Absolutely love it. Just a very small, kind of subtle, just easy to use knife. Just as you can see, it's broken in really nice. Gosh, I love this knife too. I've actually, in the past year, no, maybe more 2-3 years, I've really gravitated towards like larger knives, like the 3.5 inch kind of blade length kind of profile. That's why a lot of the knives I have is like in their large, like the large Sebenza, large, so on and so forth. But this is the only small knife that I have in my collection currently. Oh god, this knife is, if you're looking for just a true blue user that's gonna really last you forever, you cannot go wrong with a small Sebenza 21 or now the 31 in that in single blade shape. God, that in single blade shape is literally the best blade shape I've ever experienced, hands down. I like it better than the traditional like Wharncliffe sheath foot style blade. That subtle belly and that canted angled down tip, beautiful, perfect for all of my cutting needs. Oh, I love this knife. All right, next one is a departure. It is actually, I would say, maybe a cousin to the Chris Reeve. It is a Spartan blade. I know that they have some sort of a connection. But man, Spartan blades, man, they are like, there's a reason why they are like, at the top of the game alongside Hinderer, Chris Reeve. It's just, man, their knives are tremendous. This is the Harsey folder in that 2022 special edition Koi. As you can see, absolutely of a stunner right there. Look at that. Beautiful. This knife, it is just a stunner. All right. God, and it's broken in so good. So the action on this, beautiful, glassy. It's different than the Chris Reeve, but is as enjoyable, as satisfying as the Chris Reeve. Just that glassy, buttery, just uninterrupted action. And it has just the right amount of lock stick. I like lock stick, not like crazy amount of lock stick, but just a little bit, just enough to have that little pop, you know, like, you know, just to let you know that you have like a really positive contact between the lock bar and the, you know, and the blade, you know, it's just, it's like a soft pop. Now, talking about lock stick, I don't know about your experience, but Hinderers, at least for me, had the craziest amount of lock stick, especially if they're brand new. I got this pretty much brand new. I did get on the secondary, but it was like brand new out of the box. Like a day or two after I've kind of been flicking it open, oh, the lock stick was insane. Like I was like prying with like two hands, literally. That's like how crazy of a lock stick. And I've honestly, Hinderers for me had the most amount of lock stick I've ever experienced. Maybe second to that might be like like a brand new Strider, but it was crazy. And I was like, you know what? Like it got to a point where I was like, man, should I just maybe like flip it or something? You know, should I don't know what I should, you know. So what I do typically with a Hinderer is I'll take it apart, I'll clean it up, I'll oil it up, and now this thing, oh gosh, beautiful. Has that just enough of that lock stick, that soft pop that I like. Ooh, this thing is drop shutty, man. This my thumb is like is all scratched up right now because of this thing just drops down onto my thumb. But yeah, now it's this thing has broken in. Oh, so good. I'm so glad I gave it like a second chance, because this thing, it is, man, this thing is amazing. This thing is amazing. Anyways, so my suggestion is that if you are experiencing like crazy amount of lock stick on your Hinderer knives, go ahead and take it apart, clean it out, put a little bit of oil in the pivot area, and then just break it in, and then it's gonna, trust me on this, that lock stick will go away. You'll still get a little bit of that lock stick, but to me it's just enough to just let me know that there is positive contact between that lock bar and the blade, and that's what I'm looking for. You know, actually, I don't like knives where there isn't like any lock stick. And so for example, the Les George VSEP that I had actually sold recently, that thing, I think that lock geometry was so perfect. And this is no knock on Les George, honestly. I think this is a testament to just the level of like just that he's at, is that I think his lock geometry was so perfect, so dialed in. There was absolutely no lock stick to it, but it was rock solid. There was no lock. There was, I mean, it was like rock solid lockup. But I just felt like I was missing that lock stick, that little bit of that lock stick, you know. And that was literally, I think, the one reason why I decided to let it go. Is aside from that, it's a perfect knife, but it just didn't have that lock stick. Now I know your opinions may differ. Some people prefer not having any lock stick at all, but I do like a little bit of that lock stick magic. And so with the two Strider SNGs coming in, it is a hit or miss for Striders. I've had some crazy lock stick with Strider, and then the next Strider I had, it had like the perfect amount of lock stick, and then the next Strider I had, it was like no lock stick. So it's kind of like a shot in the dark. I'm hoping that these two SNGs that are coming in will have just that perfect amount of that pop that I'm looking for. But so yeah, that is literally my collection as of now. Oh no, I'm missing, sorry, I always forget my fixed blade. This is the SE Izula 1, so it's the smaller version. I don't really carry around fixed blades as much anymore, even when I go camping. I do have it in my car. I do actually have like a SC the 3 with the broomstick handle. I love that knife. So it is sitting in my car currently. But yeah, like, you know, I've really just kind of gravitated towards folders. I think like a lot of us in the knife community, but this, it needs no introduction. This knife has been around forever. This actually has probably been around the longest in my collection, probably like 7, 8 years now. It is well used. Carried it a whole bunch. If you're looking for like a no nonsense, like small kind of EDC fixed blade, you really can't go wrong with the Zula, the SC Zula, because this thing is just no frills, just, I mean, as basic of a knife that a knife can be, with their bulletproof, no questions asked, lifetime warranty. I mean, this is literally like, you know, one time buy, that's it. You're gonna have it for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this knife is awesome, guys. With that being said, that's pretty much my collection as of July of 2023. I don't know if it's gonna change much, just because, you know, I'm just doing things a little bit differently. You know, guys, I do realize more and more now that it is more blessed to give than to receive. You know, for the longest time, I was always just like buying things for myself. You know, different knives, different things of that, you know. And I just realized over time, like, it just, honestly, like, you get that high for like that one day, and then you're just kind of, I'm just on to the next thing. And that kind of changed when I started to actually like gift people different things, knives and whatnot. I was like, man, that satisfaction, that joy of giving actually is a lot more long-term and sustainable than just always trying to snag the latest and greatest, you know. And so I'm kind of thinking about doing something, you know, in the future, you know, with the knife community, to see if we could raise some funds, you know, if we could really, I know there's a lot of folks out there right now that are doing that. I know Nick Shabazz does that regularly. I think I don't know, yeah, there's other kind of YouTube folks that are doing that. You know, I want to, you know, I want to be about that, because I think that's really where the blessing and that joy is. And so anyway, with that being said, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care now.